Alrighty, Madam Chair, you're live. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sierra. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to call to order the Purchasing Oversight Committee for Douglas County, March 17th, 2022 at 1 p.m. We're going to go into our approval of the minutes as stated in the agenda. The previous meeting minutes are from February 17th, 2022. Has everyone had a chance to look over the meeting minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any updates, deletions, or corrections?
None.
None.
If not, the meeting minutes will stand as presented. We will go on to old business updates. We have the Punkintown RFQ update, something after my own heart. So, Ms.
Yeah.
I will let you.
You know what? I'm gonna turn my video on so you can see the smile on my face.
Thank you.
Okay. Last week we met with the Silver Engineering Group and all department leads that are part of this particular project. And so we are now waiting on the RFP, I guess, scope from the engineer. And the moment we receive the RFP scope, I will work feverishly to put together the entire RFP package. So Commissioner Carthen can have this job posted and a vendor selected by her desired due date, which is several years behind.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that. You're right. We did meet with Southeastern Engineers. We had a great meeting. And so now we know that it's in the hands of our resident engineer, James Worthington, the Director of Services. Yeah. And I had a chance to speak with Gil Sherhouse over at WSA, and they are awaiting those plans as well. And as soon as they receive them, they will, do their due diligence and expedite that back to us. So hopefully you will be getting that within the next week.
Yeah.
And my desired date to have all of this put out back to us and on an agenda is by the end of April. So I am very.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed that this project will commence sometime this spring or early summer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that update. Are there any questions or input from the committee in regards to this RFQ on Punkintown? If there are none, we will go on to the next.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Robinson.
Yeah, quick question, just as a point of order. Do we have a voting form here for voting members of our committee?
I am so sorry, we do, but let's take roll just to make sure. So I will start with myself. Voting committee member Tarenia Carthen, present.
Vice Chair Kelly Robinson, present.
Deputy County, go ahead, Tiffany.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Fred.
Deputy County Administrator Frederick Perry is present.
And Tiffany Stewart Stanley, Assistant County Administrator, present.
Latanya Ammons, Director of Procurement, present.
All voting members are present and accounted for. Thank you, Vice Chair Robinson. So our next agenda item is any updates regarding the contract software or the model from New World.
Unfortunately, no new updates. We're still in the same phase. I don't have the bandwidth right now to load everything in the system, but it is ready to go. Yeah, I just don't have the bandwidth right now. But luckily, with the report that we received from our county attorney, is going to help us or help me identify all the contracts that will need to be uploaded because they are keeping track. So I was very happy to see that information sent out. So that is where I'll start. As the contracts are both duly executed, and then at least I'll start that pile of getting them into the system.
Got you. I had a chance to speak with our county attorney, Mr. Coleman, who wanted to streamline and update the process of how we handle contracts. So I'm glad to know that you all are working together and that could be a dual combination. Are there any questions in regards to this? Vice Chair Robinson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, quick question. So, one, how many vendors active do we have? Do we know what that number is? I know it
No.
changes, but relatively speaking,
No, I do not have. I'll get that to you.
are you sure that all the committee members get that? I'm just curious as to number of active vendors that we have.
Okay.
Let's say as of 2021. You know, just start with that.
All right.
Second one, based on that, is it when we say bandwidth, does that mean system bandwidth to memory or people entering it? Is people
Entering bandwidth. It's just a personnel bandwidth.
We've done that from time to time on Madam Chair on judicial. We've had temporaries come in to load stuff. So I mean, it's a one-time thing. If you decide to knock this out and get this in there, that's the appropriateness. We've done it several times on everything from everything the maps, deeds, titles. We've done that before, so I don't know how big this scope of work is, but that's something to consider. Should you choose? It's your pleasure. I yield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Hammond.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Carson. Yes, that is something I thought about on my way into the office today. Is hiring someone, a team, a company to come in, just just for a brief moment to get us up and running, just to upload. I just haven't broached that subject yet, but I'm glad to hear that we've done that in the past, and we may have that ability or willingness as a county government to have someone come to step in and help us where we're needed temporarily until this position is filled.
So, Ms. Hammond, are you saying that you do have a job description out for another member on your team, and until then you would like to utilize possibly temporary staff?
Yes,
Okay.
if possible.
Okay. And I see your hand, Director Perry. You have
Yes, ma'am. I would like to, we were running some software updates simultaneously with the contract management system, Madam Chair. I would like to give just a brief report on the HR portal, if you find that appropriate.
1 second. Are there any other questions in regards to Ms. Hammond's request to look into temporary staff to update the system of contracts that are on hand now?
Yes.
Vice Chair Robinson?
All right. So my question then becomes, if you have the answer now, if you don't, it's okay. Is if you have an open position and you haven't filled it yet, that means that we have we've already budgeted for it, and it hasn't been used. So I don't know if was it for the full year or something that you did when you first came on, but we have capacity. This is contracts, right? This is not just some nice do. We're uploading our website and stuff with archive videos. This is important to get our minds around where we stand with contracts. So I think it's worthwhile. But again, Director Amos, you would have to size this up for us. What would it take? How long? A week? 2 days? I don't know. Rate. I mean, give us something to say yes or no to, or appropriately. You can handle this within the context of your area, with the administration. So it's really an administrative function because it's temporal.
Okay.
But Madam Chair, I have no issues with it. I just want to see it get done, get that out the way. Again, her sitting there as a director, input and stuff is probably not the best use of her time per hour. But I yield now.
So much, Vice Chair. I agree. And of course, Ms. Ammons is swamped, so I don't think she would have time to sit there either. And the team that she has is busy handling their items assigned too. So I will turn this over then to Ms. Ammons for you to get with Director Perry
Okay.
and Director Stewart Stanley to get that before us. And let's see how we can make sure this happens in a timely manner until you get that position filled.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. And Director Perry, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to bring an update. I look forward to having that conversation with you, Latanya. We've talked a number of times about the open position in your department and the changes that you want to make to that role. So, however we can provide assistance to you so you can move forward efficiently, we're going to help you with that. Madam Chair, along with the procurement software, we have the eSuite software that was running simultaneously with that. We have had a soft launch of that eSuite. We've been trying to get everybody's email uploaded into that system. So employees are going to start creating their accounts as we speak. And even though the contract management software, we might be kind of lagging a little bit, still some work to do on that. We have some wins under our belt. And I know that Alex has been working hard trying to get all of the software uploaded that he can get uploaded that fell under the ARPA funding. So this would be two of them. He's working hard to get that done. I look forward to having both fully functional and look forward to the efficiencies that they're going to bring. But we have had a soft launch of the HR suite, and it's moving forward. As soon as we get all of the emails that we need, we are shooting for the first, having that implemented fully by the end of the first quarter.
Thank you for that update. I've been presenting for the last 2 years. I've been asking for this, so I am glad to see that it has finally happened. So this software is the software where internal employees can actually update their dependents, update, their state and federal elections for deductions. We can actually print out our own payroll checks, and you wouldn't have to print them out unless asked to do so. Is that it?
That is correct. You can view benefit accruals, your pay information, update contact information, like you mentioned, and view federal taxes, print W-2s, things of that nature. So that's going to be huge for us, especially it's going to take a little bit of pressure off the HR department that normally gets these requests, and employees will be able to go on at their leisure, access the employee portal and do those things themselves. And also, if they change an address or something of that nature, the HR department will get an email, we'll approve that, and then it'll automatically update new role systems.
So this is excellent. Long time coming,
Yeah.
but I'm glad this helps our environment, and especially since we're still in the midst of COVID, when a lot of us don't get a chance to get up to the courthouse. So this is great. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Are there any questions in regards to this HR eSuite software soft launch? Awesome. Okay, well, we will move on to our next business item. So now we're under new business. House Bill 1525. I had a chance to find out about this because I'm on the ACCG Policy Committee, and they asked us to get back with our staff and ask them how House Bill 1525 would actually affect our procurement process. So I sent this to Director Amons to see if this would hinder us in any of our procurement policies in regards to our RFQ or RFP. And in small summary, the state wants for any consultant to be a licensed consultant through the state of Georgia. And what I've known in the past is that we have had consultants, we've had contracts for people who weren't in the state of Georgia, but who had the experience, who were the lowest and most qualified bidder for a service that we needed. And so I wanted to see from Ms. Amons if there was any feedback and how this would, if any, affect our procurement policy moving forward.
Yeah, so my after looking at the review, a lot of consultants a lot of people or organizations that use the word consult in areas that licenses are not required. So is this bill only for those areas? Because it says obtain a license required by the professional licensing board. And so we may be safe there. So for example, in Pumpkintown, we do have the engineering group that is producing the plans for us. They want to help us write the RFP, and you do have to be a licensed and have those credentials. However, I'm not sure civil engineers are licensed by the state. Architects, yes. Civil engineers are not. So, um, if this is passed, I think it's one of those bills that it's not really defined, and it's going to hurt a lot of people who use the words consultant.
Yes.
And so, does that mean we now use the word advisor versus consultant? Because I was looking to see in the proposal if they defined what the consultant actually is versus an advisor. So, if they do require that, then yes, depending on the type of bids, we will be impacted. But we need clarification as to, licensing right now is like cosmetology and barbers and yes, lawyers, but not, let's say, an organization that's, for instance, with the HVAC of the county.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to use those. There are energy companies that help businesses save on their energy footprint. They aren't licensed per se as an individual. They just have tons of experience. So would that fall under the preview of the word consultant? And I'm thinking not, because it says the addition. I'm looking at 15, HB 1525. It says that has obtained any license required by a professional licensing board. So we may be okay, but I think we need to do more research and ask some more people on the Hill exactly what that means.
What they are trying to accomplish.
Trying to accomplish, yes.
Right, and unfortunately, there was no concise answer when I asked that. It was just asked that we bring it back so that they would be able to get some feedback from us and from me, from you, because you're the subject matter expert on this, so that they would have talking points. So I will be sure to take that back and let them know. And the example that I actually thought about was our waste management service transfer station.
Yeah.
I know we will be pretty soon getting an RFQ or RFP for that. I don't think that they are licensed or they have to be licensed in the waste management services. So how would that impact us moving forward? Because the bill says any consultant either helping you to write the RFQP or helping you to evaluate. So I just wanted to find out what, if any, that would how that would.
Yeah. And there are some industries like procurement or accounting who definitely have boards where you can receive certifications, but that's not a license.
And that's not the thing.
Right. The more I read it, I hope they're just referring to those professional licenses that are currently being administered by the state agencies versus all consultants. So in other words, if I want someone to help me draw out my plans for an administration building, and that person is a consultant, then they have to be a licensed architect. Now we should want one, but they should be one, and they don't have to be one. Just like an accountant professional doesn't have to be a CPA. So I don't know, and I hope we're not impacted.
Okay, well, I just wanted it to be on our radar. I wanted us to as a committee, think about how this may or may not impact us, and then be thinking about, what we may need to, how we may need to update our language if this so passes. Director Stewart Stanley, I don't know if you know where this bill.
Yes, ma'am. So it did not cross over. So we'll have more. We'll have more time to look at it if they decide to bring it back. I think it's Bershetta who filed it. If it's brought back next year, I do see ACTG is evaluating it, so they'll probably try to work with the author. Typically, that's what they do. If they see something specifically talking to the counties, they'll try to work with the author to try to make sure that their language is friendly to the counties. But unless it attaches to another bill over the next 12 legislative days, it's not going to move anywhere for this session. So you got time to make those assessments.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so you heard some of our conversation in the Stuart Stanley. So that's something that, you know, if you're down at the Capitol and you hear word about this, these are some of those things that you can interject that they can think about if this bill comes back. But thank you so much for that. Are there any other questions or comments surrounding HB 1525? Wonderful. All right, we will move on to our next agenda item. That is the upcoming bids that are scheduled. Ms. Ammons.
Yes. So I have 3 that need to go out. So are you looking for a future or current state?
Both.
Both. Okay. So current state, I have 3 out. I have the fire truck apparatus that is scheduled to close at the end of the month. I have mowing and litter pickup removal. And then the last one is grant administration for the Senior Services Center. All 3 of those are slated to close as late as the first week of April.
Okay.
I plan to post tomorrow Bill Art and Fair Play, the fencing for those 2 parts, and then the comprehensive county plan. I'm going to post those 2 tomorrow, and the landscape RFP should post early next week. I'm trying to finalize that and have Heath approve it.
Okay. Can you tell us where we are for a program manager? Any word in regards to that?
Yes, so the first one, I'll go back to the grant management. I sent that by my self-proposed deadline for a draft review. And so I need to circle back with Mr. Perry and Ms. Stewart Stanley, and Jill, as to, does it make sense? How does it read? You know, what is the feel? Is it going to fulfill our purpose? And so that's for the grant manager, grant management. And then for the PMO, gone back and forth, had subsequent conversations with Commissioner Robinson, and have gotten more clear direction as to how we want this to look, right? And so once I should complete that one next week, as I'm hoping Pumpkin Town doesn't come in. And so I have to stop those from Pumpkin Town. But also, based upon our work session on Monday, I'm going to turn those over and have the auditors take a look. And so I'm going to reread their findings, make sure that some of the things that they were suggesting in their findings really is addressed more as part of the scope for the RFPs, and ask them to take a look to make sure that we're asking for what we really need that will help address some of the issues that they saw. And so that is my plan for the next week to 2, because Pumpkin Town won't be ready for another week to 2.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions in regards to this update? Vice Chair Robinson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll go back to the first one, which is the contract administrator. And again, it's tied into the auditor's comments as well, which is the platform in which we are able to keep up with these grants. As the auditor mentioned in our, I guess that was the Finance Committee meeting, no, Transportation Committee meeting, specifically regarding like federal, state, and local. That's exactly what I was saying. Right, you need, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, if you can handle the federal level, then everything else will handle everything else, right? And so there is a sole solution out there, a single source solution is out there. And I'm hopeful that Deputy and Madam AC, that we can give her the sign off. She needs to get that out in the air. We're, again, while we're working through the administrative side of getting this RFQ out, we're losing time. we are spending, we are out there doing work. We've got to be able to keep up with our efforts. And again, that audit was glaring. It was, and while I get a new director of procurement is getting her mind around this, like we lived this for 9 months, so she's after the fact. The pain is, it's like, okay, guys, we need to go ahead and just sign off and get it in the air and get busy with that. So I'm just hoping that we can go ahead. It's administrative. It's not a legislative function. We need to sign off on it and get that out. And likewise with the PMO. Again, we've gotten clarity on that. Let's make this simple. Again, a PMO, a single place, a single view of everything, of all of our projects, all those, so they're somewhat tied, right? There's still that function of a view of everything, whether it's federal contract projects and federal contracts to compliance, whether it's our project management, or like even our finance. It's a single view of everything. And so out of that PMO, also obviously there is an internal. Where is it going to be housed, right? Who's really going to be overseeing that component as well? That's not the grant administrator. Who's going to see that function for all projects across the board? So both of those need to get in the air, how you implement them. How you guys organize around that. We'll leave the cabinet, let y'all work that out. Madam Chair, and come to the board. We need to get this out because you've got active work that's in play. And again, it'll take 2 months for us to get through this cycle. We'll be already into the next round of drawing down the next amount of money. So I'm just hoping that we can sort of keep the accelerate on this and get this out. And I don't want it to be because of administrative, like, we're waiting for a sign off. So that's all. I'll put some attention on that, please. Madam Chair, I yield.
Thank you, Commissioner Robinson. To that point, Ms. Ammon, I know you are getting more clarity and you're looking at the audit report that was just given so that you can align what they told us we need in terms of what you're going to put out so that we can get the right consultants or the right project management oversight. However, I just want to state one thing that I think we're really overlooking, and that is we have a SPLOS management team that has done an excellent job, absolute excellent job. And I think if we can, collaborate, ask questions, pull Terry Gable in, find out what they're doing, find out which management software they're using, find out what they're doing, and if we could duplicate that. Because again, to Commissioner Robinson's point, once you get it down federal, then the local and state dollars, it's a given. We'll already have that process, and it seems like Terry Gable's and Atlas and H.J. Russell, they have an excellent, excellent team, excellent process. The people in the processes are already there. So if we could possibly just duplicate what they are already doing, we just do it internally, and possibly, of course, on a smaller scale. But if we could do that, then that would, I think, get us to the finish line quicker. So I don't want us to overlook what we already have in that relationship with Atlas and Terry Gable to possibly help us. Yes.
So Commissioner Carter,
go ahead, Ms. Ammons, you have the floor.
So that did cross my mind. So my question is, so since they're here and they're already embedded in the organization, and I have said I didn't ask if they were just a straight professional services contract, if we bid it out for their services, but do they have the bandwidth that we can just ask them to, just do it for the grant side to help Jill and roll it up? I mean, because they're here. I mean, remember Terry gave, as soon as David gave his report this week, before he could finish, I immediately asked him for a list of his presentation where he gave all of the list of the projects. So, and I don't know if those projects were splosh or not. The point is, you're right. They have the expertise, the knowledge. They're already here. They know us. They're just splosh centered right now. Why not just shift them to something else?
They actually, I can't answer that, although I wasn't here at the time.
Right.
But it was a competitive bid.
Okay.
And they did. But I'll let Commissioner Robinson, he probably has insight on that. Vice Chair Robinson, you have the floor.
Well, I'll respond to your dovetail back with you that yes, it was professional services. And there are actually two teams in there. There's Atlas, and then there's H.J. Russell. Atlas provides all the technical expertise, all the engineers. Russell's only role is they have one resource that is dedicated. She uses Primavera software, and she keeps up with all the scheduling and everything, and provides us the technical report every month. We just don't print anymore, but that's what that role was. So they're paying that split 70-30. It's public. 70% to Atlas, 30% to Russell for that function. But there's prohibitions in their contract. I mean, so I'm going to come back to the point that I get it. We need to discipline internally. We're talking about like, but we don't understand program management. And so part of that is a knowledge transfer for us to be able to scope projects out, talk the language, keep up with it. So I like, okay, at the speed and the size of these projects, no, y'all don't have the bandwidth. You can't take on a PMO of this size. I mean, that's the SPOS alone. Now you double the SPOS and drop federal projects on top of this and try to take it on internally. Well, who's going to actually own all that? But I think that's an assignment that can be, I mean, again, that program management is to go down that path, somebody who's totally dedicated to everything. Now, if in fact you want to put that out for bid, I mean, their contract is coming up, ending this time next year, and they go 6 years. It'll be over, but then you're about to put 2 spots out there. Now, who will handle both of those? If the public votes on it, plus the federal money, plus all the other projects that we got going on, the strategic initiatives. So one more time, it's a single view. Who's going to be totally dedicated to owning that and lining this up? And again, remember, that's a $4 million bogey. That's $4 million, right? The cost of that spot to do that work. Right? You can cut it in half. First spot for the jail, it was $2 million. Cost inflation from recession to now, all right, it doubled from $2 to $4 million. Right? In our current books, we got $400,000 for program management. It's not enough, but okay, let's get this office up and going. So it's about the execution. It was easier, like, okay, let's find a firm. That's what I'm saying. Put the RFQ out there. Let's see what the responses are. And through that learning, we can figure out what to do, because we're talking about this like, gosh, we cannot handle this. We can't even handle the general projects on the table right now. That was the whole point of the DDS. I mean, not DS, the Transportation Center just told you that we can't do it. We could have been replicated. If it was that easy, we've been talking about this for months. And so that's my only concern is that, guys, we just don't have it. But you can import it. You can import expertise, and we can learn from them, and then have somebody assign a director of program management, and they can take it from there. They can grow. But for right now, you got stuff on the books, you got a lot of money, and there's going to be a lot of accountability. And that audit, if you really read the audit, it tells you we can't handle it right now. So to try to replicate anything, we can't handle what we got. I mean, that was just one project that we could not perform on. And nobody, I mean, really what it talks about is ownership. The audit is about ownership. Who's going to own this solely? Not these silo pockets all over the place. And I'm not saying that, no, get me wrong. The directorships, they're great at delivering services. They do their job. This is more of an internal. How are you going to keep up with everything? A single view. And there's no oversight. There's nothing at the cabinet level. Nobody's owning any project. That's how this thing fell apart. There's no single oversight. So that's all I'm trying to do. It's not that we're not overlooking it. We're looking dead at it. It's like we got self-reported on. I raised my hand like, God, judge us. Mr. Auditor, judge us. Tell us where we missed it. So now we got it in writing. So again, take that audit, wrap that in there, but let's get some learning out of this process with the RFQ. But right now, today, we don't have, who's going to own it? Tiffany? Madam HA, you want to take this up? Deputy? This is a function in and of itself. You got to have bandwidth. That's a team of people. So again, between Atlas, the three people who run it, is I forgot her name, Yolanda, some went over on H.A. Russell, David Good, and Terry. That's your 3-team member, right? That's $4 million that goes into all the things it takes to get that done. So it's a function of money. Again, I won't belabor this right now, Madam Chair. I think this was just sort of an update. We can take it offline, but I'd ask that don't come off point with that, because again, you've been laid out a blueprint for it, and it's just time to execute. So I yield.
Thank you. So my point, Ms. Ammons and Commissioner Robinson, was that we have expertise. We need to leverage that expertise so that we can expedite this. There is no way we can do this internally. Again, Ms. Ammons, you just told us, a couple of items back that even your people bandwidth can't do contracts. So we get that. But what I do want to do is make sure that we're leveraging that relationship so that we can get this and get it done right. I'm pretty sure that Terry Gable, Yelena Thompson, David Good, and they are able to assist you in that so that we can kind of get this wrapped up and get a team of people, a corporation, another Atlas on board, because time is of the essence. Like Commissioner Robinson said, I'm sure we'll be pulling down the next money slot, and we need to be able to have a place where the projects that we already have slated for the ARPA funds already lined up, when they will be executed, when is the completion date, before we move ahead with the second slot, and administratively, I'm hopeful that our county administrative director, administrative both, will help us in terms of dollars and cents, because again, $400,000 will not help us if we're talking about software and a corporation. So we may have to realign that. But again, I'm hoping that you all will do your due diligence and help us with that, so that this RFP, RFQ can hit pretty quickly, and and we won't have these surprises. But thank you for that. Any other questions or clarity on what we're asking for?
No.
Vice Chair Robinson.
Yeah, no more of a, again, you can ask them these things if they may be interested in bidding on that. Be careful.
Yes, sir.
Right. So some of that's why you use your auditor, people who are offline. Handle it. I'll leave it alone. I made my comment, right? Okay. I yield.
Got it. Our next agenda item, if there are no other questions regarding that, we just did any RFQs that are due scheduled. Our next is it Amatrace, the Communications and Community Relations Department control room renovation. Are there any updates on that?
Yes, good. Let me see, it's good afternoon. Okay, I should say. Good afternoon, Commissioner Carthen, Madam Chair, and Vice Chair Robinson. Good afternoon. I applaud Ms. Ammons for alerting me to the time of the Purchasing Oversight Committee, because what we want to do is just go through due diligence to make sure we're communicating the way we should, appropriately so and transparently so. The update I wanted to share with Oversight is the fact that on Friday, February 18th, the Programming Committee itself had voted and moved to approve recommending Amatrace's proposal for renovating the Communications and Community Relations Department's TV control room and building out a new studio set on the 3rd floor. We attached quotes and provided that to her. We were just looking to move forward with having a contract completed and entered for the next available agenda item for the Board of Commissioners to vote. We went through the whole process before the Programming Committee, sharing the names of the other companies that we received quotes from, for a total of 4. And, just wanted to, so I sent, my information to Ms. Ammons so we could move to the next step. And I welcome, any questions that may be. We felt we did our due diligence by providing the information, showing what would be done. We did a walkthrough of the extent of what needs to be renovated and replaced. So we just wanted to come, before the Purchasing Oversight Committee.
Thank you so much, Director Martin. Ms. Ammons, you had a chance to look over what Director Martin sent to you. Do you have any questions or any suggestions, or should we, or any questions for him before we move?
No, I don't have any questions. I reviewed all the documentation.
Everything is in alignment and accordance with procurement. Okay, policy. Wonderful. Are there any other questions for Director Martin in regards to this? Then I will take a motion to move this forward to be put on the agenda as a recommendation from the Purchasing Oversight Committee.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second that the Armor Trace Communications and Community Relations Development TV Control Room renovation contract shall be moved forward to the Board of Commissioners for approval and award. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Vice Chair Robinson.
No, just what is the amount? The terms? Like, how long will it take, and what's the dollar amount?
That dollar amount was right at $400,000.
Right.
$400,000, Vice Chair. The time frame they gave us, I believe it was about 6 months.
Just less than 6 months.
Just less than 6 months.
Yeah, it was under 6 months.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, Mr.
No, go right ahead, Rick. I thought you might have stepped off.
Yeah, no. It could be as quick as 4 months, or under 6 months. And he made sure to tell us, shipping, would be the only thing, that may cause the time to be longer than 4 months. Shipping, just the problems of shipping that we're facing globally because of the pandemic. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I got you. 4 to 6 months, 6 months. I'm just, because we're in emotion. I'm just trying to get some facts. So $300,000 for total cost, 4 to 6 months for implement, 6 months. That's fine. It's going to take what it's going to take. And what is the source of funding?
ARPA funds.
It is the ARPA funds. So
That's correct.
All right. And
Vice Chair, that's a little closer to 400,000 than 3.
All right, that's fine. So 400,000, 6 months. No, it's okay. So, Madam Chair, so are we saying not to exceed 400,000?
That is, absolutely not to exceed that. That's
right.
Correct.
Right. So not to exceed 400,000. A 6 month estimated time frame, recognizing macro that can't control shipping, and they're going to do total implementation for us. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Or are they dropping it off and we've got to assemble ourselves?
No assembly is required,
right.
from what I'm understanding, and I know that I see Phyllis raise her hand, so I'll leave that to Phyllis to go into more nuts and bolts of how things will transpire.
All right, real quick, we're in a motion and we got a second, so I'm just looking, Madam Chair, I'm just looking for a quick answer. If you give her the floor, keep it tight. I'm just looking for clarity because I'm trying to clarify your motion, ma'am. Thank you.
I can actually clarify that for you since I'm on the program committee. Yes, so that contract that Ms. Ammons has, they have already scoped out all the work. They have already assigned prices to it. They've already assigned when they will come in and do the work. The only holdup, as far as date-wise, is of course chip shortage. Most of that equipment is coming from overseas because your manufacturers are your Japanese manufacturers. So to that point, all of that is within that contract. So it's not to exceed the amount that they have on the contract.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. So just for the public record. Because I didn't hear anything. We're just moving something forward to the full board. All right, I yield, Madam Chair. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? If not, we will call call for the vote. All in favor of the Arbitraries Communications and Community Relations contract moving forward to the full DLC? When I call your name, state your motion. Tarina Carthen, yes. Vice Chair Robinson,
Yes.
County Deputy Administrator Perry,
Yes.
County Deputy Administrator Stewart Stanley.
Yes.
Well, y'all got long titles. And Director Amons.
Yes.
We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. We will now move on to miscellaneous items. Procurement is beginning the process of no longer mailing POs. Ms. Amons.
Yes. So we currently mail POs to vendors if we do not have a valid email address in the system. So we are going to begin with every PO that has to be mailed. We will include a letter in a vendor application and request that the vendor update the form and send it back. We will not make that change verbally. We will need something in writing. I'm going to have my team keep a tab of who they sent it to and on that date. And after the third mailing, I will send the PO back to the department and ask them to reach out to the vendor, because most quotes are sent electronically. So there is an email somewhere. And this small change will save time in the department, and it will definitely save postage. And unfortunately, money has already been spent on the envelopes, but in an effort to bring us into the year 2022, we will no longer mail purchase orders to vendors.
Thank you for implementing that update. Are there any questions in regards to this item? If there are none, Ms. Ammons, you will update these changes or these processes that you're putting in place. They will be updated in the Purchasing Oversight Manual, right? I'm assuming that
yes. If something is already there, I will update it in the manual. Yes.
Got you. Wonderful. And this is just my other question to you: is this manual printed or is this an electronic copy?
I believe it is both. However, the full manual is not on the website, I do not believe. We do have a document titled How to Do Business with Douglas County. I have printed that, and in my leisure time, I have made some notes to update that document. But the full manual, I do not believe is online. It needs to be redone. There is no Word document here in our files. Everything is a PDF. And most recently, the county attorney did make, there were some new changes to Section 11 on professional services, which needs to be incorporated into the full document. And so I need to update that and incorporate the new version.
Got you. So it becomes a domino effect. When you do one thing, you'll see
you have to do another.
You have to do another.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm currently, just going over the manual and proposing some changes.
Is there any other items to come before the Procurement Oversight Committee before we adjourn? Vice Chair Robinson, you have the floor.
Just a brief point. In April, as with last year, we'll begin the process from a legislative perspective on reform. Last year, we tackled a few things such as HOAs and procurement and finance and some administrative functions. 2.0 of that will be coming forth. So if there's something out of procurement that needs the board's application, amendment, edits, etc., that may have ordinance or broader policy perspective, look forward to your input regarding this process. So this is more of a stay tuned and a marker. No action necessary at this point. Madam Chair, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Robinson. Any other items to come before the board or committee? If not, this committee meeting stands adjourned at 1:49. Thank you all for showing up in your. I look forward to seeing you next month.